Hello everyone, my name is Sylvester and I'm going to demonstrate according to the question that was asked in 6.3, exercise 6.3. So I'm going to show my server. So ensuring that this is your database that you are trying to alter the table in it, you you start by creating the table, provided that you don't have the table, and this is the command you can use to create that table. So this is one command you can use to create the table and the columns, like the ones we have in this our table here. You can see the table that we created earlier. It has the columns ID and then the country and the city. So when you create the table and add the columns, it's going to create that table. And then to insert information in that table, you use the insert command into the table that you created, and you specify the columns, and then you can be able to add that information in those columns. And then to add a tracking column, which is the date, which you will be it will be able to track when exactly some changes were made in that database. We can use the tracking column, which is, since the table has been already created, we will alter the table and then add last modified date, and then date null, then last modified by, and never char just means that it should be an individual. And then the date time, it must be not it must be null. So that's a constraint that has been added on it. So after that, we can now get the first name of the people on that list. To get the first name, you will have to use the object ID, which is getting the first name, and ensure it's not null, because we can't have a null first name. You'll have to create a function of the first name and specify the constraints. Then declare the first name as constraints also, and then set the first name, which will be equal to the contact and the char index. Then getting the last name, you use the object ID still, but you use the function that goes with LTRM, and then use the char index also, char index. So if we want to trigger last modified date, this is the command. It's here. We have to use the trigger function and then updated modified date, and then you go. So you have to create the trigger on that table, and then after the update, it should be able to set the count on. So we can also trigger the last modified date by using the following command, that is number 7, trigger, or which is update last modified by the person who was able to modify it. That one, we use that command. This will be able to show the person that was able to modify, and then it's going to inner join the customer ID and the date. So to test the function, you select the customer ID and customer name, and then as first name, and then as second name, and then to be able to provide that. And you have to update the database. So it's you set the city to Nairobi. That's where I live, and where the customer ID is one. So it's changing the city of this customer ID one to Nairobi. So what it's doing is selecting the customer ID, customer name, customer city, last notified date, and last notified. And remember that we added these two columns on that information. So that's how you can be able to finish the task by modifying last modified date and also last modified by the individuals who are able to perform that information that was given. So hopefully this has been helpful, and you can be able to perform that task also. And if you can see them, after I created mine, then this should be able to provide the information. You can see it's providing the information, but it's a little bit glitching. The information is here that was created. So thank you so much, and